Yo, what's going on guys? It's me Bristol and welcome back to a brand new video. So, not long ago, there was a new features in gameplay trailer for The Last of Us Part 1 Rebuild. And if anyone doesn't know, I am a big fan of The Last of Us. It's one of my all-time favourites and I'm really excited for it. Even though I don't have a PlayStation 5 myself, I will be getting it on PC when it does come on PC. But seeing this game remade into what I hope it's going to be is very cool. So we're going to react to this features in gameplay trailer, try and get more of an insight on why the price was so... I think that the price was like $70, which is like £60. But on one side, I understand why it is, but then I understand there's two sides to every story. I know, like inflation, like it's a remake. It's already been remastered, but it's a rebuild of the whole game. So there's got to be a reason why it's so pricey. But Naughty Dog have never disappointed me when it comes to games, so I don't see this being a bad game or a bad remake. But enough waffling on. Let's jump into the gameplay trailer and see what they have to offer.
I'm coming.
More than 2 years ago, when we were finishing Last of Us Part 2 and we were working on those flashbacks within that scene for the first game, we got excited with the idea of like, oh man, what if we made The Last of Us Part 1 to look as good, if not better, than what we have done with Last of Us Part 2, which we really pushed the boundaries of like what we could do from gameplay and a graphical standpoint, and felt like if we do that, we could actually come even closer to our original vision of what the first game would have been had we not been constrained by technology.
The original creative vision of The Last of Us, I think in a lot of ways was larger than what the PlayStation 3 was capable of.
The tech of the PS5, it's like an open box
So
of
beautiful.
tools and goodies that we can play from and draw from. The 4K, HDR, improved haptics, 60 frames, help us to reimagine The Last of Us.
Whoa.
It gave us opportunities to rebuild our characters at the highest fidelity. Not only are the characters more detailed, I mean down to the irises and the pupil depth. You know, you fall into the eyes of the characters. Aside from that, the facial animation is just way more believable. Like all the nuances, all the little subtle reactions, glances, glares, right? Like you get all of it.
This is mint. So for anyone who doesn't know, this was originally on the PlayStation 3, and obviously being on the PlayStation 3, you're limited to what you could make or the potential it could have. And The Last of Us actually blew that out the water with what I was expecting. So seeing it from what it was to what they're showing here is like, it's stunning to see, because technology has blown up so much in like these couple of years of how many years it was, and yeah, this looks amazing. This looks amazing.
Almost closer to sort of the original performances.
So no matter what, you stick to me like glue.
Like glue.
Like glue.
Got it.
Good.
We are able now to not
Would love to
only
be there when they were
just
doing this.
have the highest fidelity characters in the cutscene, but also in gameplay. It's the same character, so now we can do these seamless transitions in and out. Every part of the game has benefited from seamless transitions and emotional scripting.
Pretty good, huh?
Our stories happen.
Yeah, but look at the difference on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I'd like to see a PlayStation 3 comparison with the PS5, just to see like the original, how it was like out of the box, freshly made, to then what it is now. I'd like to see that, because I bet that was insane.
In gameplay, on a stick.
She knew my mom.
All this stuff is designed to keep you constantly in this world.
Riley, come here. Now you got this. Go.
Pizzeria.
One of the things that the PlayStation 5 is really enabling is that we're able to have a density of physics objects in a scene that we could never do before. Like, this has always been the dream, is to have this number of bumpables, chippables, breakables, destructible objects in a scene. It just makes the world feel rich, makes it feel lived in. Materials can have the properties that you'd expect. The turret truck in Pittsburgh, when it's firing at you and it's just ripping apart the concrete and sending objects flying left and right.
Seeing things break, like there's fear, there's a real fear that it invokes.
And it's giving us a much more dynamic range of gameplay to play with.
Around him!
Our AI tech has just increased incredibly. What we were building the basis off of was The Last of Us Part 2's AI. And it has sophisticated systems for things like the fundamental knowledge model of how these NPCs perceive and understand what the player is much more sophisticated.
Now how the enemies are communicating with each other, how they're chasing you, how they're flanking you, how intense that fight feels. It's so much more rewarding coming out of it from the other
I do
side.
have to admit, the PlayStation, the Part 2 mechanics were stunning. And I know not only people like the Part 2. I didn't understand. I loved it.
Technology that we developed for The Last of Us Part 2 has this very sophisticated understanding of, like, okay, this is where the enemies can see their exposure. We not only have exposure, we have future exposure. So buddies can know, okay, that enemy is walking forward and they're about to round this corner. So in 3 seconds, that corner is going to be exposed. So I'd better move now to avoid this enemy seeing me. This really lets the buddies make very complex decisions and maintain that feeling of stealth much more believably.
Okay. Yeah, that was one thing that was on the
big
in the
enhancement to the
PlayStation was
gameplay is that we have
that
this technology called
AI
motion
is
matching.
just running in
Motion
front of
matching
everyone.
is this technology that's basically using logic that tries to match the desired movement to a bucket of hundreds of animations. A mocapped actor has gone in and run this whole gauntlet of movements to get a really full set of all the different ways a person can move. And then it's basically every frame trying to find the best matching animation that fits the path of where the character is going to go. And this motion model just gives this really seamless sense of transition. The player's movement is just a lot cleaner. It's this really smooth organic movement through the space.
First, we just had to build that core experience.
I really want to be
And
there
then
when they're
beyond
doing these
that,
type
we
of like
wanted to add,
recordings and
several
stuff,
features that
and they're
fans have been
capturing this
asking
game,
for.
the positions and shit.
For example, we now have a permadeath mode.
Oh wow!
Along that, we've added a brand new speedrun mode, so players can time themselves. There's a whole community of gamers that just want to see how fast they can play through this game.
That's
Beyond
cool.
that, we added a bunch more of unlockables. So there's all these different outfits for Ellie and Joel that people can unlock.
That's cool.
A model viewer mode, so
Yo.
people can really appreciate the details. We added award-winning accessibility features.
Every single accessibility option that we offer, that's a barrier removed for someone.
As she surveys the apartment, her eyes wander to Joel. She steps past the couch. He wears the wristwatch Sarah gifted him, which now has a cracked face.
To my knowledge, this is the first PlayStation game that has audio description built into the game, built into the cinematics.
Yeah,
Now it's
wow.
nighttime. Joel stirs in his sleep.
And that's really the way we've tried to push the frontier of accessibility on this game.
That's really cool. That's actually really cool.
So much of the identity of The Last of Us is the world.
We revamped completely the art direction. You know, everything from these expansive vistas that not only are they beautiful, but you feel the environments. You feel the environments in a much more visceral way. The rooftops overlooking the Capitol building, for example, like just the breath of fresh air when you go up there and you just like, you feel that sort of release in tension. And then, you know, to juxtapose that down in the tunnels in Wilds, and you get that dank, flooded tunnel feel, that humidity, you can actually feel it. All these environments are just completely reimagined.
Now we got our engine on the
So
PS5,
cool.
with haptics, the 3D audio, the fast loading. It really creates a much more immersive, and because of that, much more emotional experience.
One of the things I absolutely love with the 3D audio in The Last of Us Part 1 is being able to hear an enemy before they sneak up on you. And trying to do a stalker fight with the 3D audio is just so much fun. You're hearing them skitter around in a different room, and you're hearing them trying to get it behind you.
Yo. I heard that.
Having that
was
two-part
sick.
reaction of like hearing, turning, seeing, reacting, it's just really heightens that sense of just being grounded. You are in this character, you are in this world. Now, with the PlayStation 5, the amount of control that developers have over the DualSense, it's really, really cool. All the guns in the game have a variable amount of resistance on the triggers when you aim them. The way it works
Okay.
with bow is that at the very beginning, when they're starting to draw the bow, there's a little bit of resistance. And then as the bow gets tauter and tauter, the amount of resistance is increasing. And then when you release the bow, you're also getting that resistance going out of the trigger.
Oh.
When you are aiming and firing the shotgun, you're going to get a haptic vibration on the shot. And then what I think is one of the ways that the DualSense really advances things is you're going to get a haptic vibration on the pump of the shotgun. And what's much more sophisticated about that on the DualSense is that in effect has a little like speaker in it. And it's playing an audio file that comes through in the vibrations. And those two beats is what you're going to feel on the controller.
This looks like a good spot.
This also ties in to the new workbench animations. So if you're seeing Joel taking apart a gun or screwing something in or putting a new stock on a gun, that moment where he's like jamming that on, you're going to get that haptic feedback on that. We have, haptics all across the board, for all the moments you kind of expect, for clambering, jumping, landing, meleeing, getting meleeed, like all those kind of high intensity moments we have represented in the haptics. What I personally absolutely adore is the way we can enhance the really like quiet, subtle moments of gameplay. So it's like when Joel goes in to pet the giraffe, getting that little light touch on the haptics as he's petting the giraffe. To me, that's the essence of The Last of Us. It's the high tension moments, it's the low tension moments, it's all of it feeling grounded. You're feeling immersed in this world. It's all about bringing you along with that story in as many ways as we can. And that's what the new technology on the PlayStation 5 is allowing.
Was that everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out.
There's something special about that core experience of playing as Joel and Ellie on this journey. Then to take that experience and really honor it and keep the authenticity of it, but elevate it in every way possible, whether it's pipeline, whether it's art direction, whether it's a technology, everything that allows us to make that experience better. Not different, extremely better. That's why, to me, this is the definitive way to play The Last of Us.
That's sick. That is sick. So, I'm a bit biased when it comes to The Last of Us. No matter what they do, I'm always gonna love it. Seeing that, it does get me really excited to what is going to become of the remake. But obviously, with the price point, I know there's been quite a bit of hate from the price point kind of standard, because $70 or £60 for a rebuild of a game is really very, very steep. But I'm one of those people that if you pay for something which is more expensive, you're going to get more of a better quality. I know that everyone can't afford it, but I think this is more towards the hardcore fans like myself, that I know I'm going to buy it when it comes out. I've probably played it quite a few times on the original remastered and the PS3 version, so I know what the game's about, what it makes me feel like, and just generally how good that game is. Obviously, the price point will drop in a sale in a couple of months after it comes out. It always does. So if you're someone who doesn't want to buy it at that price point, you can always wait. But overall, that was very, very interesting. I'd love to see what you guys thought, and whether you're going to be getting the rebuild of The Last of Us. And yeah, if you did enjoy this and you want to see more stuff like this, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.